Blog Talk Radio.
Aziz, Aziz,
Peace. Good evening, sis.
How are you?
I hear you. I'm doing good. I was just sitting here taking down some notes while I was waiting on you to call me in. Yeah.
Okay, so I got I think let's see if Leeshia can get in here. So we've got a couple of things we're going to try. One is, like I said, we'll have you kind of we'll say hi, then we'll Leeshia, she's going to get on the call here soon. Hold on, I'm trying to help her. And then Bennie sent us a little clip, like a 5-minute little clip. He listened to the recording and looked over the notes. So he's got a little something for us to play, which is really nice. And then Leeshia can talk about her research, and then we also have Martec Washington that's going to join us. And Martec, he does this thing on Facebook called Hood News, and so he'll tell us about that. So,
okay, sounds like a winner. Sis. Yeah, okay. I'm not doing a whole lot of talking because I'm saving what I need to say.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to get these folks in here. You know, it's a bit of a, we'll figure it out.
I got about 5 or 10 minutes. I can be able to explain in Shabazz report and how we got there. Okay? I think maybe about 5. I won't take a lot of time.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let me see how we should set this up. Let's see. It's just two.
You're not getting any feedback tonight?
No, you sound good.
Okay. Well, that's good. Because I actually moved my laptop to the back of the room. I was getting ready to move into another room in an effort to get that feedback out of there.
Let me see. Yeah, I think. If you tell her, I can just call her. I don't know how people log in via email.
Hey, I have a sister friend of mine that she's got a background that I think she said in broadcast journalism. I wanted to bring her on and have her say, and Sister DeVita. She said she went to school down there at West Virginia State. Did you go to West Virginia State?
I did. I did my undergrad there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, she should join us.
Well, I'm trying to get her in. I'm working on her.
Well, maybe after this show she can. Maybe after this show she'll this is kind of setting the groundwork for why we're doing this. All right, let me call Leeshia here. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, Leeshia. Can you hear me?
Hey.
Hey. And
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. My co-host John is on here. John Kemet, Shabazz, L. John, you want to say hi to Leeshia Lee?
Peace.
Hello.
How
Fine,
you,
how are
how
you?
you doing, sister? Oh, I'm doing fine.
I'm doing great.
Good to be working with you, sis. Okay.
Thank you. I'm excited about this.
Okay, so, let's see here. So we got you on the call. So should we call Michelle now and get her in the queue before we get started? Is that probably best, Leeshia, you think? Or
Yeah, you can call her.
okay, I'll call her in.
Okay.
All right. Get this going. Hello? Hello? Michelle?
I'm here, Crystal.
We got John. Leeshia, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't know what Michelle. It rang. Let's try it.
Hold on. Okay.
Oh, you know what? I think I had the wrong app number. Problem person was probably like, what in the heck? 558. Okay. All right. This is the right number.
Hello.
Hey, Michelle. It's Crystal. Good. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. We've got you on the air. We're not live yet, but Leisha's on here. And
hey, I'm going to a quiet place now. I know.
Okay. And my co-host, John Kemet, Shabazz, L, is on here. And so here's the plan. We play this little music. And, Leeshia, you're the professional here, so just please don't judge me. I'm just playing around, just trying to get better, okay? Practice makes perfect. So we play our little theme music, and then I just introduce what the show topic is. And then John says hello, and then John's going to start talking about his grassroots reporting that he does with the Shabazz report, and then from there, so you guys, so we'll introduce you at the top, and then you might just have to stay on mute for a little bit, and then we'll start talking about the data. I also have. So we'll let you set that up. You and Michelle set up the data that you did, but I also have a 5-minute clip from one of our favorite call-in folks, Bennie Marcelli, and he has his reaction to, it's really good. It's about 5 minutes. So I think what we'll do, Leeshia and Michelle, after you guys kind of just highlight like what you did, then I'll play that clip, that 5-minute clip, and then that kind of opens us up to talk about the focus group and the data. And I have the focus group queued up so we could play a little bit of it, but this is not the most technical. Okay, we got about 90 seconds. Yeah. The show's going to, what did I do? Hold on, wait a minute. I did something. I have a little bit of the focus group queued up, but I have no idea what it would play because this is not a very tech-savvy thing. But it's all good, so whatever it played will be good. And with that, let's get started. Let's see here.
All right.
I don't know why this thing is telling. Do y'all hear it? John, do you hear it saying 60 seconds?
Nah, I didn't.
Okay. Well, here we go. We're going to go public. co-host, John Kemet, Shabazz L. And here we are again, John. We're doing it again.
Yes, yes. Peace, peace. Peace and blessings to everyone out there. John Kemet, Shabazz L with the Shabazz Report. Yes, yes.
And so tonight we're going to be talking about, this survey, this data that Markel Marketing did for Black by God, talking to over 100 Black folks across West Virginia about what they want, need, and expect from the news in West Virginia. And, a lot of interesting discoveries there and a lot of opportunities. But, what I'm excited and what this platform is about is, bringing real conversations from the grassroots community to the people. And, John, you've been doing this for a long time. So you want to tell us a little bit about the Shabazz Report?
Yes, Crystal. Actually, the Shabazz Report, I started doing that in 2019. And that actually was an outgrowth I gave 2 lectures in 2019. One was at WVU. I was doing some grassroots work, and this is what I would call cross-community work, because this was the first time that I was actually dealing with Caucasian people in organizing, and I had been asked to be involved with the community and to speak at a community panel, and there was a connection there made with a local journalism professor at WVU. She asked me to come in and speak to her class, and we ended up doing some work in terms of gathering data where she had got a grant for, and she needed help in getting contacts. But in order to be authentic, I asked her to have time to speak directly to her class, because some of the people that I gave her, linked her up with, had concerns that this was white people collecting data on Black people. And in order for me to be authentic, I felt like I had to speak directly to her class. And I interviewed her. I had an interview with the school teacher, the WVU professor, and then she set up the lecture to her class. And I uploaded these 2 events to YouTube, and but after speaking to her class at WVU, I decided that I would take much of the information that I had documented over like the last 2 decades in an attempt to gather data, in an attempt to tell an African-centered and Afrocentric perspective on Black life in West Virginia and in Western Pennsylvania. I found that there were certain things omitted. Being a researcher, I was looking for that which was omitted, and whatever I found was in our best interest, I wanted to highlight that. And that's actually how the Shabazz Report comes along, because it's a natural outgrowth of the 2 speaking engagements I had last year. The other speaking engagement was speaking in Washington, D.C., hosted by Imam Akbar of the New Black Panther Party for a show called Black Power Radio. Okay, as a matter of fact, I was instrumental in setting up Black Power Radio. That's one of the reasons why I could come on the show. But I talk about these things because these are grassroots. This is grassroots media. Us taking the opportunity to speak from a perspective that is our own, and speak directly to issues. So that's what I found out. I am attempting and continue to do with the Shabazz Report, because it's an outgrowth of WV Black Unity TV. Because before it was the Shabazz Report, I was doing. I'm the national chairman for West Virginia Black Unity Coalition, or Black Unity Coalition, which came out of hate crimes investigation work. And which is something else I found important, because in the hate crimes work that we did, it was necessary for us to document and archive the work that we did, or else someone might try to reconstrue it. Okay, so that's and this all falls in with the Shabazz Report, because this is the evidence, I said that, well, I need to be able to do this, where I can be able to collect the data and speak on it from an African-centered perspective that is in our best interest.
You've been,
yes,
so, and everyone, you can, if you look in the show notes, I've got a link there to the Shabazz report. You can click it. And it really is a document. It's very documentary. I feel that's a good way to phrase it, of Black life across West Virginia. And you said the data. And so with that, I want to Leeshia Lee and Michelle Triplett are here with us from Markel Marketing, and they just did a whole bunch of data on what does the Black community across West Virginia say they want and need from the news. So, Leeshia, Michelle, are you there?
Hey.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Yes,
well,
welcome.
Welcome to Black by God. John and I meet here every Sunday, and we've had Pastor Watts, and we've had other guests. We're just getting started, and we're trying to use this as a platform just to bring people in to talk about what they're doing and their concerns, like John said, from an Afrocentric point of view, from, well, I tell you what, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you found out from this report, from these surveys, and why do you think that this platform, that more people need to know about what we're doing here over at Black by God?
Okay, well, initially we interviewed people between the ages of 23 and the oldest person was 71 years old. Now, the majority of the responses came from people between the age group of 28 to 42, and the majority of the people in the first survey said that it is very necessary to have a Black platform, a Black news medium that is exclusive to Black news, Black stories, Black events, Black health, and things going on in the Black community. In the second survey, everyone said that it's necessary. And out of the first one, I think there were only like 2 or 3 that said that it wasn't necessary, and that's only because they said that we as in Black people should try to have equal footing within, I guess, white news organizations or the mainstream news. I guess instead of having a separate one, that we should have equal footing within the mainstream media. But a lot of the responses stated that Black people do not trust the news that they receive, whether it's television, radio, or local news stations, and that sometimes that the news stations sort of have a displacement or far removed from Black sentiment in the community.
One of the last week when Pastor Watts was with us, there was an article that just came out that sort of centered him and his work in a publication called Mountain State Spotlight. And one of the things that has stuck with me all this week is when he said that even when the white reporters get it wrong, we're happy that our story's being told. And I thought, wow, just the fact that an article would be written by white reporters for a publication that serves a predominantly white audience, even if that story isn't doesn't get it quote unquote right, it's all we have. And Michelle, I know you worked on the survey, and what were some of your
I was getting ready to say we actually discussed that topic as far as the difference between a white reporter and an African American reporter getting it wrong, and how the standards are different for us. If we get it wrong, we have to immediately address it. So it's nice. I mean, I'm not going to say it's nice. It's kind of awkwardly to hear that regardless if the information is wrong for us, we're just so happy to have it in there. And I guess we're just so happy to have it in there because we don't have – the spotlight is never on us. So any type of spotlight for us, when it comes to that, we're excited. But in the same sense, if it's going to be a spotlight on us, we need to make sure the right information is given. We can't just be happy that we have the spotlight. And that's for as us as people to have our own network, our own sourcing. if we get it wrong, we have the accountability to say, hey, it was wrong. And this is from our people who have us in the correct concernment and discernment for us. So we know it wasn't done intentionally. You know, it was just an honest mistake.
Yep. I agree. And that's, you know, Leeshia and Michelle. So what were some of the other surprise findings that that you learned from you know, from what people said?
It's not really surprising because we're in a generation that is, you know, instant gratification. So it's like people aren't really reading the newspapers as much for news. The number one source for news was Facebook. And that, I guess that's a good thing and a bad thing because, you know, you can search for the news that you want, but you can also be faced with getting inaccurate news as well.
Yeah, and you know, I think I left Facebook about 2 years ago, and I don't regret it. I find it to be, you know, well, I'll save that for another show. But I wasn't surprised either to hear, you know, that people get their news from Facebook, and it's actually kind of one of the places that I'm saving for the very last initiative before Black by God fully launches to reach out to the people. Because I think one of the dangers that people don't talk about with Facebook is that is a platform that could go away, it could change, and then all of a sudden you're left. Not only that, it's also a platform that's monitored where your data is being sold. And so, you know, with that, I feel like I wish a lot of our organizers and communities wouldn't depend so much on Facebook, because in the blink of an eye, it could disappear, it could change, and you don't own any of that data. So one of the things that I have here is a clip from our friend Bennie and our brother Bennie, and he calls in the show, and we enjoy him. And he listened to the focus group that we've all heard, and I'll play a little bit for the listeners. But let's take a minute here and listen to Bennie's reaction to the focus group, and then we'll talk about that.
What's up, everybody? And I just wanted to check in for this little Black by God episode. My name is Bennie Marcelli, and right now I'm on my way back home from Vegas, man. I'm at the airport, and so I was just listening to the audio recording from the podcast that all of the sisters had done. And I mean, man, it just amazes me like how spot on the sisters are with what everything they were saying, you know, as far as media portrayal, as far as, you know, people going out in the streets and what they say and other people's perceptions of them and us having to speak up. Man, I enjoy every bit of what they had to say. I think one of the things that we also need to do is, like, we have to communicate with each other a lot more. Like, we have to communicate brothers and sisters to brothers and sisters. So, you know, I was out here listening to their audio recording with some of my brothers. We come out here for my cousin's birthday, and so anyway, this morning before we were all leaving, I was like, man, let's check out the Homegirls little podcast. And so, you know, we listened to it, and one of the conclusions that we came to was that we need to have a voice for brothers who are doing good, doing right. I mean, a lot of people I know they don't have that street action going on, and you know, they got a lot of good stories to tell, how they got up out of the streets and you know, what they're doing in life now, their business. A lot of everybody that I came with is married, so, you know, they would definitely have a different perspective. I just think it's important that, like the lady said, we start speaking up and reaching out to each other and believing in one another. I really appreciated the one statement that the sister had, that, you know, I think it was Leeshia. She just saying that, you know, we need to start cross-referencing each other, instead of wanting to hold on to a certain situation. That's kind of the reasons why I get on this Black by God show, is because I understand the importance of networking, and just talking with different people with different perspectives, people in different places in the world at different periods of their life. I think that is dope. So I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time, man. Like I said, my flight's about to come, and I ain't going to be doing too much rushing, but I'm about to get in here. But, man, I look forward to talking with y'all next week. I would love to set up a podcast and at least bring one of my cousins on, and, at least one of them. I have two of them with businesses, actually. One cousin in Charleston, one cousin in Georgia that I like to bring on. But I want to bring on one of them and, just allow them to share their experience of, how they got up off of the streets, because both of them came dead up off of the set. And, that now they're doing good in life, got successful businesses. So, yeah, man. I look forward to talking to you guys, and hopefully next week we can make it happen on the show. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, John. Thank you, Crystal, for offering me this opportunity. I want to thank Leeshia for, really doing the groundwork and the leg work and getting that audio recorded from the sisters out, because we have to all let each other's voices be heard. And, like, man, I was just listening to that by myself, for one. Then I let the guys listen to it. But, I mean, it was just dope and powerful just to, like, hear, all good, strong, successful sisters' perception. So I want to thank the homegirl for that. And, hopefully let's get a show going. Let's get it going next week. I can't wait to be on next week. So I see y'all, man. Much love, and be safe out there.
And that's Brother Bennie, and hopefully by the time he gets back home, he can hear our show and appreciate his comments. And I feel like, Leeshia, we got this little underground mixtape of a focus group. It's really good. Talk to us about that. I mean.
I'm sorry, can you went in?
Yeah, Bennie got first dibs on sort of what I'm thinking is like this underground mixtape. It's a focus group, right? It's people coming together, and you talked to them last week about what they thought about the news in West Virginia, and there was some gems. There's such good insight in that meeting, and what was so beautiful about it was not only your facilitation, Leeshia, but also just the way that, the ideas sort of fed off of each other. And so I want to just talk to you and Michelle about that experience and what you think we should do with that information. What's the next step?
I think that it was very refreshing to hear people, because everybody, like, there were the women that were selected, they were all different. They had different careers, different hobbies, they were different ages, they were from different locations. And to see how they were all able to communicate, even if they didn't have the same opinions, they were able to either explain why they thought the way they did or back it up with facts on, if you didn't know this, then this is why. And I think that that's important for people to not to respect everybody else's dialogue. So I think that was one of the most important parts of the conversation.
That was the beauty of it.
Everybody brought their own opinions to the table, and nobody was disrespectful to what anybody else thought, and they all came together to come to agreement that this is something that is necessary and very needed. Michelle?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would say just what you said. It was so beautiful, like to be able to talk to people who have different opinions, and there wasn't any disagreements. Like you said, if somebody didn't get it, we were able to to now have, okay, so this is why I feel this way. I'm going to give you 1, 2, and 3 sentences of why I feel this way. And then from there, we go, oh, okay, so I see where you were coming from. And that was the most beautiful aspect of it all. And there were so many things that I personally, I hadn't recognized or I thought differently, and I was able to see it in a different light.
Well, give us some examples. I know one of the things that you talked about that was very helpful to me was there was an agreement that from the ladies in the focus group survey that we need resources. We don't have a space where Black people can go to get resources. It seems to be scattered. And also, I thought that the responses were also on the same page that we need to stop hoarding knowledge, meaning, you know, we need places and people to share their knowledge and be mentors to each other. And we're not just talking about little kids mentors, right? That was one of the things I thought was really interesting, that the adult community, you know, the knowledge that we can share with each other. So how can the news fill that? I mean, John, you too, like what does that mean to the news?
Well, I noticed from the survey that there was a question asked in reference to what Black person represents a Black journalist in West Virginia. And one person's name came up, and that was David Fryson's name. Okay, I remember seeing that question in your survey. A lot of people may not have knew him, but his name did come up in the survey. And I said to myself, okay, now I've been out here doing this grassroots stuff, but I'm not necessarily validated. Dr. Fryson, all due respect, he does get some level of validation because he's able to appear on mainstream. He's able to appear on Hypocrysy's Talk Back Live. I listen to Hypocrisy. Did you listen to him, Crystal?
Yeah, I do.
Hello?
Yeah.
I listened to him.
Yeah.
I listened to him and Rush Limbaugh. But however, I've been on Hypocrysy's show once or twice. Okay, but it's been a long time since. However, it's important, those people that have access to mainstream media among our community, when they get on mainstream media and make whatever statement they make, I've listened to some of the things Dr. Fryson has said on Hypocrysy's show and read some of the things that he had wrote in the Charleston Gazette. He's respected in terms of an established-oriented Black leader, responsible leadership, okay? But that's not necessarily grassroots leadership, okay? So I wouldn't expect Dr. Fryson to do some of the things that I've been able to do just as an Afrocentric grassroots reporter. I just wouldn't. I went and covered demonstrations, okay? And I think Dr. Fryson has done, from what I understand, I think Dr. Fryson participated in the Ferguson, had went out to Ferguson. So I continue to be respectful to those people that get that are given. For instance, he's perceived as a journalist by some people, but he's not necessarily a journalist.
John, let me just say this, and Leeshia, correct me if I'm wrong. Out of the entire survey, right? The whole data, we can just speak to it, Leeshia, as cumulative, not that necessarily the two separate ones, but cumulative. Nobody could name a Black journalist, living or dead, right, ever in West Virginia, other than one person said David Fryson, and I believe two people said Martec Washington, and he's hopefully going to call in. I think that's correct, Leeshia, right? I mean,
yeah, that was the only name that was given, other than Hood News.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that
Tony Brown. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I have to put this on the record. Tony Brown of Tony Brown's Journal. I met him at Fairmont State when he spoke. He's from down there around Charleston initially.
Absolutely.
He left and went to New York. Yeah.
A legend.
So we got to get that on the record and let people. Go ahead. Excuse me, sis. Go ahead.
I mean, he's a legend from West Virginia. But the thing is, we don't have
Right.
anybody doing the work in West Virginia. And so if we're not
Yeah.
telling our own stories, whether from our own platform or through these, white-led news organizations, and there are many, not just the Charleston Gazette, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many new publications that are popping up. And Leeshia and Michelle also asked that question, asked if anyone had heard of two publications. One was 100 Days of Appalachia, and the other one was Mountain State Spotlight. And what was the result of that, Leeshia, Michelle? I don't think
Nobody.
anybody had heard of those.
Yeah, nobody had heard of those.
So we
I
are
heard
really,
100 Days Appalachian just recently. If I've heard of that, I think Danielle Walker put me onto that recently. Okay. And I have to sit back and say, well, who are they? What are they doing? And it's new. Is that right? It's new.
yeah, but the what I'm hoping that the urgency that I have in myself is that we are in a information crisis, because not only are we not familiar with the resources that exist, we don't know who, and this came out very clearly in the focus group through the mother whose daughter was being called the N word in school through online portals. I believe
Mhm.
it's I gotta stop for a minute, because this is a baby girl. She's an elementary school child, and she's being harassed online. You know, I believe there was even one comment that one little boy said to her that black people should be locked up in cages, and so this is what this mother is dealing with. And she said she doesn't know of the resources, meaning, what do I do? Who can help me? And I think that's the role that journalists and that these platforms that they can offer people as connectors. I mean, Leeshia,
Right.
you've been on the radio
Resource.
for decades. You know that role that the media can play when someone has a person that they know that has, that can connect them to people. So I don't know how you all feel about that, but I just know we have to find ways to make ourselves more visible, the storytellers.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Mm. Mm. I think I find it necessary to speak to that, right? Because of the fact that, as I was telling you when I started out, that I had gave those lectures at WVU, and I find it is necessary to tell our own story, because if you don't know how to do that, other people end up speaking for you, and they don't necessarily tell the story that in the way that they don't tell that story in their best interest or in your best interest. So it's it requires us to step outside the box in some ways, depending upon your level of education, you know. But I do it because the fact that I didn't have a lot of money, so I had to be able to tell my own story as a litigator. You have to draw up a statement of facts, and in drawing up a statement of facts, it was print media for me, and then it was only. Now, because we have this video camera age, everybody's got a camera. It's easier to be able to get access and to a camera. It used to be a time where in our communities we didn't necessarily have easy access to cameras. I don't know if anybody remembers that time. Okay, but I do, because I was a journalist with a tape cassette player and a Polaroid camera for a period of time before the time that we live in now, which just only really came around since the 2000s, maybe the 2010, since we all got these video cameras, these cell phones, and so forth. So we're upgrading and yeah. Go ahead, sis. Excuse me.
Yeah, the age of the camera, Michelle and Leeshia, in that focus group, one of the conversations that came out was how what happened in Charleston with Frida Gilmore was something that wasn't addressed in the news. And since this is a statewide program, would you all care to just give a little context to that and what the response was and how it wasn't covered in the news?
I think that what it was said was one of the members of the purchase group felt as if the aftermath wasn't covered as much as the initial, like what they're doing since after the settlement. They said that they felt that since the settlement was given, what they planned to do after the fact hasn't been discussed as much anymore or as in depth. And I think Martec will be, he probably knows more about that situation because he was heavily, involved with that.
Okay. I think because that's an important story to think about in context of what a camera offers.
Yes.
The news, the community reporter, the citizen reporter, what that offers the narrative today. And but Michelle, do you know a little bit about that story to tell what the background is for the Frida Gilmore story?
Sorry, I'm trying to unmute myself. So that was because this is a woman in our Charleston area who has a mental condition. She does have a mental condition, and the way that was handled incorrectly.
Well, what happened? What happened?
Leeshia, can you give a little more insight on that? Because I thought there was a dog in her pocket.
It was the story like it wasn't really clear, but apparently she was mentally challenged. She had some issues, and the officer she might have been manic, and they thought she was trying to fight them back. So it was a police brutality case, and a lot of the black people were upset about how it was handled, how she was handled, and how the case was being handled by the city. So there was a meeting that was on the west side of the church between the city and the police officers, and I remember it got real heated, and they ended up settling out of court with the family, but that's to the extent. Like what they're doing now or what has happened since, I'm not sure, and I think that's where the focus group were saying what's going on with that now.
So that would have been a story where, John, if you were in Charleston, you would have been at that community event with your camera, right?
Well, actually, those were events. Those are things that we want to be able to cover. Those things that might get omitted or neglected.
Uh-oh. I think I messed up. We'll have to... Yeah, hold on just a minute here. I think we made a mistake. We got to call John back again. Let's see here. You know what this is? I joke. I said this is sort of like a bootleg clubhouse, but we're doing the best we can. It's sort of, let's see if I can get John back on the line. Where did he go? Well,
I think Michelle got disconnected too.
Yeah, I think I'm over here pushing buttons, and I'm not sure what I'm doing. I need to find the button that says where I can call or they can call back in.
Yeah, she just said she's disconnected.
Well, tell her this I'm looking for the right button. I tell you what, Leeshia, while I'm looking for the right button, because that's how I get everybody in, I'm going to play a little bit of the focus group, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Let's play this. This is the focus group that Markel Marketing just hosted, asking a group of Black women in West Virginia what they wanted from the news.
What does that mean to you? And we'll start with you, Nia.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. What does a Black organization mean to me?
News, yeah.
Oh, Black news. I feel like it is not only important, but it's accurate, because a lot of stuff that's on the news that we do watch, it's not accurate. Sorry, it's not accurate. They try to either withhold information or give false information, and I feel like we are deserving to more accurate information, and also just something to where it's about our communities and just the Black community itself, that it's very important that we should know the specifics and, just the accuracy.
Okay. Got you. Okay. Michelle?
Okay, so Black news for, I feel the importance is, one, as a people of culture, we have a lot of things that go on, such as health issues, things that how they paint our community, as in now if you go to the news for the West Side is a bad place to be. But to the people in the community, we're a family. It's not, these are our daily issues. These are things that we as people, we fully understand. The media that we have now doesn't portray it as anything that we understand or it's anything normal. Like, granted, these issues shouldn't be normal, but they only paint us as to be the bad guy. They don't give us the positive situations. They don't speak on any on that. They don't say, hey, this is going on in our community pillars. They don't speak on any of that. And that's what needs to be addressed, our health issues, our pillars, things that we need in the community, the good things that are happening within the community. They only give us about 5 minutes of a segment on that. So with that being on our own people, hosting us, it's more than just a 5 minutes. You get a complete bird's eye view.
Okay. Okay. And Mia?
Well, Leeshia, I'm not sure. That was a little clip from the focus group, and I'm not sure how I can get John or Michelle back into the system. So I think I don't have any tech support here. You probably you're a little bit like me. If my son's not around, I can't figure anything out. But I tell you what, Leeshia, let's just kind of wrap up here with a little bit of what were the biggest surprises to you in doing this research, and what you think this research, what should Black by God do with it now? What do you think? How should I share this information, and what was the biggest takeaway for you?
I think that what you should do is give the people what they want, and it seems as if that there is a push for stories that concern the Black community, for information that helps the Black community, and in a way that's relatable to them. And I think also that it's very important that Black people have something that I want to say that they can call their own, or that they don't have to go through several hoops and channels to get events that they may have covered or stories that they want to hear from covered. And it's not about who just being able to have a platform where you can share your information.
Yeah, I agree. I hope. Yeah, this is so important because it lays the foundation really for what the people want. And I think one of the things that the people really want, that was a big takeaway from me, and is good news. People want to have a place to celebrate. Like #Black Joy. Like, this is a big deal.
Yes.
And in West Virginia, we're always. It doesn't matter what color you come in, we know we're the bottom. We know we're the poorest. We know we're the most unhealthy. And inside that, I think people forget about the black community, anything that hits the white community hits the black community harder across West Virginia. And that just creates just sort of this level of sadness, and that's why I really loved seeing your photos from the jungle, because that just was community, and it was joy, and it was connection. And I think that those photos alone just brought so much joy to people. And we know you share them on your Instagram and across Facebook, but what do you think about how can we encourage people to share the good news?
And I think people will. I think they're just so used to not having an outlet or a platform for it that like in the focus group, it stuck out to me that one of the people said that when it's a negative story, they go into in-depth articles. When it's more so a positive story, it's like a 15, 30-second snippet. So it's just saying that what is being shared when it comes to black news there's not a balance. It's more so negative per se. And then the people that choose, so that was one of the things that I found, a harsh reality.
I agree. And so here's what I'm going to do, because somehow I pushed the wrong buttons and kicked everybody off. But I did play Bennie's recording, so that gives me like some technical satisfaction. I figured that out. I'm going to well, first, is Michelle still listening? Sorry, Michelle, if I kicked you off. Sorry, John. But I think what I'd like to do is turn that focus group into, Bennie was calling it a podcast, because that's what it should be, and work to edit that so that people can hear what others think and find a way to comment and continue to give us more feedback on what they want and need. So between now and next Sunday, I'd like to turn that into a space where people can listen and hear what was said. I think that was very insightful. And I think, I've got Martece on texting me. He was ready to come in and talk about hood news. So, hello, Martece, if you're still listening. Miss Crystal is not figuring this back end out. So, Leeshia, how about if thank you for your time tonight, but I'd like to maybe between, this next coming week, if I could get you back on a call with Martece and we could talk about hood news and some of the ways that Martece is filling that gap, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Okie doke. Well, thank you, Leeshia, and thank you for your work. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Markel Marketing and what other people could do if they need services like Black by God?
You can email us. It's Markel Marketing, MarkelMarketing 304 @gmail.com. We do have an Instagram page and a Facebook page, but kind of like a full-service marketing group, but it's all grassroots. So we kind of do the urban underground work.
And I appreciate the work that you did. Professional urban underground work, whatever you want to call it. All I know is that Markel Marketing delivered the goods, and that is a survey of over 100 Black people in West Virginia, asking them about the news, both online surveys and social media surveys and focus group surveys. So thank you and your team so much for that. And hope that you and others will be patient and join us again on Black by God Live. Thanks, Leeshia.
Thank you, Crystal.
Aziz.